It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 169. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, March 1st, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you would like to support the show. In today's show, we'll have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I last talked to you on this microphone. And I have a new one in the mix there. The mid section, which is the middle of the show, that's where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, is a break from all the video game talk. And I normally get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams, and that is the case. So that's the plan today. I'm recording a little bit later than usual today because, I guess pretty much because this is an off day for sports-wise. Usually I'm trying to get the podcast done in the morning before football starts, the Panthers are playing, or baseball starts at like 1 o'clock. And we are slowly getting close to baseball, so I will be back to recording early, very consistently, like always. And I also went to a card show around the area today, and that's like, it's got to be the first time I've been to a card show, and it was a sports card and Pokemon card show. Walked around there for a couple hours, bought a couple things, had some fun. I met some of the vendors at the card show actually record for YouTube, so met some people that do YouTube, and it was a fun time. I've slowly been getting into the Pokemon world after going down the little bit of the retro video games rabbit hole because the store started transitioning to some Pokemon, so I've slowly gotten into it as well. So it was really fun going around, seeing all the cards. There was a million cards there, a ton of people walking around, all sorts of cool stuff, and I would definitely go do it again. So that's what's going on with me over here. And now I'm here to talk about some video games. So what have I been playing in the past week? I've been playing a game that I've been playing consistently for some weeks now, maybe a couple months now at this point, and that's Animal Crossing New Horizons. This is my second playthrough of this game, and I have really been loving this game. Really loving this game on the second playthrough. This game's definitely got to be getting some consideration for moving up my favorite game of all time list, because I think I'm having just as much fun with this second playthrough as I did the first one. And the main thing, I've been buying some turnips, trying to make some money in this game. My turnips last week were looking like I might have to take a loss, and that was pretty worrisome. And I ended up making like 20 to 30K in bells, which was pretty good. I bought turnips today for 92 bells a piece, which is pretty great. I bought 150K worth. So I'm getting my money up slowly but surely. I do have two bridges now on my island, and I have one incline, and maybe possibly buying another incline at some point. But I think I did buy the second bridge in the last week, and I still put it in an area that makes my island take a little while to walk around. So I'm still kind of leaving it pretty natural. My island has tons of trees on it, and all the different land masses aren't really easily connected at this point. So I think it's still pretty good. It still takes you a bit to walk around, and I kind of enjoy that about this island so far. Excuse me. One thing that took place last week that was a little bit surprising was it changed over to spring in Animal Crossing. So I booted it up on February 25th, and I noticed all the snow was gone. So ever since I've been playing this second playthrough, it's been winter the whole time. So it was pretty wild to go see pop up and there be zero snow on the ground and finally able to see grass again. So made it to the spring. I went to a KK Slider concert and got a new album from him, which is very, very exciting. So that's another thing in the rotation that Animal Crossing has me now looking for is, if I'm sitting around on a Saturday night, I need to go check out the KK Slider concert and get a free album from him, or a free record, or single, whatever it would be called. Get a free MP3 to go put in my record player in the game and play. But, only listen to Bubblegum KK. That's what I want to say. So I've been harvesting fruit to get money. I have some fruit actually to harvest today that I haven't gotten to. So every time I shake all the fruit on my island loose, I get around 30,000 in bells right now. So that's mainly how I've been trying to get my money up. And my island's been staying natural. I built that bridge, And those are kind of my main goals right now. I would like to maybe get some more types of trees on my fruit trees on my island so I can make some more money that way. But I'm pretty happy with the return I'm getting. I'm really hoping for a good turnip week one of these times. I want to get up in the 500s or something like that and 5 times my money. So that would be really great to do. I would maybe just go buy an incline. Maybe I would pay off my next Nook loan. I'm not really sure, but I've just been having so much fun with Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I do not really see myself slowing down from this in the foreseeable future. So this has been the main game kind of in my rotation right now. And what else do I want to say about it? I've been enjoying playing it on the Switch 2. I really do love the Switch 2, and that's just another little Switch 2 check-in right there. But the other game I talked about earlier, I bought a new game, which is actually an old game, but it's come to a new console, and that is Pokemon Leaf Green. So Pokemon Leaf Green and Pokemon Fire Red are available now on Nintendo Switch to download digitally. They're $19.99 US a piece. These are remakes of Pokemon Red and Blue, but these are the Game Boy Advance games that released in 2004. So I started this last night, and I couldn't believe how nostalgic the menu music is in this game. So I think that's partially because of this game, and then I think partially because of Smash Brothers, or I think maybe all in part to Smash Brothers. I'm not sure if I actually played. I definitely played red, or I played blue back in the day, and I guess I played some yellow too. But I don't know if I ever got to playing Fire Red and Leaf Green. But the menu music when you boot this up, incredible. I chose Bulbasaur as my starter, and I wrote down like what a hard choice that is. I really don't think you can go wrong between Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. But I think growing up I probably would have picked Squirtle, but I think these days I'm into Venusaur, especially. But Bulbasaur and Ivysaur are cool too, and I made that decision. So that's who I'm rolling with, is Bulbasaur, and he's the only Pokemon I have so far. I definitely need to get a Rattata or a Pidgey in my party just so I can have another Pokemon. But I've made it to the second town so far in this game. I don't mind the random battling, really. I think that's fine. Walking through the grass and getting the Pokemon to attack you is fine. I like how bare bones they start you. They don't even give you a Pokeball. There's really, really just a bare minimum at the beginning. You have to go talk to the professor. You have to go fetch a Satchel for him. You have to bring it back. And then you are kind of on your way as a Pokemon master. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with this. I don't know. I would like to make some progress in this game, and that's kind of my main thing. So I'm definitely on a Pokemon kick lately, and Pokemon Leaf Green is the newest addition to my Pokemon arsenal. So that's what I've been playing. I'm trying to think if I played anything else really this week. I really didn't play too much Mario Tennis, so I'm still might be in the 40K world ranking. I don't think I played any. I really do think that was about it. It was a pretty light week. Animal Crossing's been pretty consistent, and I got some Pokemon Leaf Green in just last night. I did a little bit of traveling this week too, so it's been a little bit of an off week for me video game wise, but having the Switch is super nice. I really did. I took my Switch traveling, but I didn't even end up playing it. I just downloaded Leaf Green the day it came out and ended up playing it last night. So that's what's really going on with me. That's my video game catch up for the week. Those are the 2 games I've been playing: Animal Crossing New Horizons and Pokemon Leaf Green. This is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show, so I'm focusing on new releases this year. I'm not looking to make a backlog list or complete try to complete a whole series and go back to the beginning kind of thing. So I'm looking to the horizon, and actually the next horizon I'm looking forward to is Forza Horizon 6. That's the first game on my front log right now. That's my most anticipated game. I actually have another game to add to this list, and I'm going to do so in the midsection, so I don't want to tell you about it quite yet because it was an announcement last week. But Forza Horizon 6, that's the main game and that's still my most anticipated game. The next one's just pretty close. But Forza Horizon 6 comes out May 19th on Xbox. I'm going to have to wait for the PlayStation 5 release, which is to be determined, but it said in 2026. Focusing on the front log, Meeting of the Hollower is another one I'm looking forward to. Spring of 2026. Marvel Token Fighting Souls is August 6th. And then Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, which is how you can play Metal Gear Solid 4 on current platforms, will be out August 27th. And there is another game in the midsection I'm going to talk about that's going to be added to this list for sure next week. But that's everything for my gear of the front log that I'm looking forward to. So that's going to wrap up this first section of the show. And you're going to hear some lovely break music. And we're going to come back for the midsection where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 169. This is where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And there was a giant, huge, monumental video game release last week that I've definitely talked about the last couple of weeks on the show, but I just want to make sure you know it's available right now. If you want to play the 9th mainline Resident Evil game, Resident Evil Requiem is available right now. Released February 26th. It is $69.99 US, so a full price game developed and published by Capcom. It is a requiem for the dead, nightmare for the living. Prepare to escape death in a heart-stopping experience that will chill you to your core. So in this game, you get to play as Grace Ashcroft, I guess, as a new character, and you also get to play as a non-new character, a fan favorite character, Leon Kennedy. And the things I've been hearing about this game have been top tier. The only really complaint I've heard about this game is it's not the longest game in the history of video games, but I think Resident Evil games are typically on the shorter side. But other than that, I've heard this game is very high quality. And one of the most exciting things that I've heard, and something that I could see myself testing out, is that this game runs perfectly fine, and maybe even kind of runs good on the Nintendo Switch too. So how exciting is that? The third-party stuff for the Switch has been extremely impressive, and I think the prospect of playing a Resident Evil game in handheld just sounds really, really good. So I could see myself playing this game at some point in the year. And I'm trying to think what else. I really haven't heard too many complaints about it. I've heard most people are enjoying this. They really like the blend between the two characters. So you're kind of playing two different styles of games within this with Grace, who's more of like a, I guess that's more of like the first person kind of horror, scary, maybe a little bit less like tools in your arsenal to use. And then Leon Kennedy is the full control badass, where you're feeling more confident and comfortable in the world playing as Leon. And I've kind of heard that the mix of that is done really, really well. And it just sounds like a really, really fun game. Possibly if I could get over some of the scary, gory stuff, maybe I could see myself playing this, and maybe I will be doing so on the Nintendo Switch too. So Resident Evil Requiem is available right now. So I think that's going to be, it seems like that will be a Game of the Year contender for people. It seems like that high quality. I don't know if it's going to be like a home run Game of the Year contender, but I could imagine this being on a good amount of people's list and high on people's list. And I really think they've done it again. Resident Evil has really been cooking lately. They've been cooking for a long time, but they're on a really amazing streak right now. And having this run on the Switch too, I am just really, really impressed by that. With all these developers right now and publishers optimizing their games to run effectively on the Switch too. I think it's really, really cool and really, I'm about to say important, but I do think it's a pretty great, I think it's a really great move for Nintendo. I think it's going to be important for their bank account, which is not hurting, but I think it's just a really, really, really strong thing for their console in this in the universe right now. All right, so that was the Resident Evil Requiem update. It's available now. All right, the next announcement was a release date announcement for a video game, and this was a surprise announcement. I was kind of expecting this game to come out in 2027, but no, Insomniac has told us that Marvel's Wolverine is going to release on September 15th, 2026. So not that far away, pretty surprising to me. And I am very, very excited for this game. Insomniac's one of my favorite developers of all time. They've done Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, which is one of my favorite, one of my favorite series, Ratchet and Clank. Resistance, I love that series from back in the day. Sunset Overdrive, and Marvel Spider-Man. And I've completed all three of the Marvel Spider-Man games. So if you listen to this podcast, you know I have difficulty completing games sometimes. So there's definitely something in those formula, in those open worlds, in those combat, in the storytelling even. They have good storytelling in those games. It's enough story to keep you going, but the main thing you're there for is the combat and, playing as a superhero. And Wolverine is one of the coolest superheroes there is. And seemingly, we're all going to be able to play this game on September 15th, 2026. And the back of the box talk on Marvel's Wolverine is, as he searches for answers about his past, Wolverine will do whatever it takes, unleashing brutal claw combat, violent rage, and relentless determination to cut through the mystery of the man he used to be. So I expect this game to be similar in format to the Marvel Spider-Man games. My biggest question is the open worldness, and how I think that's a pretty big part of the Spider-Man games is the swinging around and moving around the city and the collectibles, and I think that's extremely fun. I think they do it some of the best open world stuff in video games, and I'm kind of wondering how Wolverine's going to tie into that as well for his movement in the open world, if there is an open world, which I guess there probably is, but I am not sure. But I'm excited to see all the different villains. Maybe we'll see some other cameos from other X-Men or whatever. I think there's a lot of potential here, and I think it would be surprising if this game was not super high quality and super fun. And I think this one up there with Forza Horizon 6 are probably my two if I had to pick what my game of the year is going to be. And I've been on a PlayStation kick for game of the year the last 2 years. It's been Astrobot and Ghost of Yotei. So I think that does put a little bit of a feather in Marvel's Wolverine's cap. But I also do have Forza Horizon. And this is all just me pre-talking about game of the year. But I think Forza Horizon, the last one, could have been my game of the year for sure. And I've loved both of those last games. Some of my favorite games, and they could possibly be moving up my favorite games of all time. And I'm just excited for Forza Horizon 6. So I'm also excited for Marvel's Wolverine, and we all can play it on September 15th, 2026. All right, another announcement from last week is a collection of video games, X-Men related, and it's the Marvel MaXimmum Collection. And you can experience one of the most comprehensive gatherings of Marvel's early gaming legacy, every major iteration across arcade and home consoles. This collection is a curated journey through the evolution of 1990s Marvel Universe in pixels. This will include games like X-Men the arcade game, Captain America and the Avengers, Spider-Man Venom, Maximum Carnage, Venom, Spider-Man Separation Anxiety, and Spider-Man X-Men's Arcade's Revenge, and Silver Surfer. This one's being developed and published by Limited Run Games. There's no TBD on this one for the release date yet, but my guess is sometime this year. And I guess if you want to get a pre-order, that might be possible to do on Limited Run Games website, but that's just me speculating or going on past knowledge. But the Marvel MaXimmum Collection will feature rollback netcode, save anywhere, in-game rewind, museum, and cheat menus. So I think most video game publishers and developers do a really great job with these collections nowadays, and adding those things in there. I guess the rollback netcode is the one that is very, very important with these things for online play. But this one's coming to Switch, PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So they're running the whole gamut there. And I think a cool collection. I think I've probably played some of these games in arcades back in the day, but I don't have any immediate familiarity with these. But I think with this collection especially, this could be a good one for co-op play and, definitely have a nostalgia blast. So Marvel MaXimmum Collection has been announced, but no firm release date yet. So we'll be watching that one. All right, a pretty big deal. Something happened last week, the 30th anniversary of a pretty small franchise called Pokemon. And there was a Pokemon Presents last week that took place on February 27th. It was at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That was around 24 minutes in length. I actually did not watch this. This took place on one of the days I was traveling around. So I was catching the updates throughout the day and reading more about it. So I have gone through and got all the big highlights from it. So the main thing from the Pokemon Presents that I took away as a stellar announcement was the announcement of the next mainline game, I guess Generation 10, is Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. So developed by Game Freak exclusively for Nintendo Switch 2. It's very important there that they're going to be able to use the processing power of the Switch 2 and not have to be held back by the Switch 1 hardware. I know that's disappointing for people who have not purchased a Switch 2, but I think this is a smart move for the company in general and a smart move for the Pokemon franchise, just if you're looking at that separately from, people having to pay a lot of money to get a console and, expensive price for the game and all that. That's real stuff. But I think in terms of the game and all the complaints Game Freak and Nintendo and Pokemon have been getting about the graphical fidelity in their mega blockbuster franchise, and, their graphics have been subpar, which is kind of inexplicable. But it seems like they've taken all those notes, and I think this is they were on a 3-year cycle from when they were releasing their video games, and I think this one has been a little bit longer. I think Scarlet and Violet might have been 2021, could have been 2023. I could be wrong about that, but I did hear somebody talking about this and saying there's been a longer break in between these mainline releases, and I'm pretty, I don't know if I'm shocked to see that they actually took the feedback, because it's been overwhelming feedback, and there's really no reason for them money-wise to do this unless they're really trying to, I guess their long-term money, I guess, could be wrapped up in this. If they kept making games that were really, really graphically poor, maybe it could hurt them in the long term. So I think this is a pretty strong move here from Pokemon and Game Freak to focus on that a little bit more than they have in the past. So I think that's really great. So these new titles feature an open world to explore with beautiful windswept islands and a vast ocean with glittering waves. It looks like you can actually swim underwater in this game. The Pokemon that live in harmony with this region's lush environment have developed their own unique ecosystems. During this adventure, you'll team up with all kinds of Pokemon to overcome both the difficult road ahead and even the forces of nature that block your path at times. Your main character in Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves
You'll sport a different outfit depending on which version of the game you play. And of course, you'll set out with one of the 3 first partner Pokemon. Will you choose a grass type by partnering with Brout, the lively but clumsy Bean Chicken Pokemon, the Bean Chick Pokemon, or perhaps you'll heat things up with a fire type by picking Pom Bomb, the guileless, I don't know if guileless is the right word that I meant to type there, but friendly Pokemon, Puppy Pokemon. And if water types are more your speed, then the intelligent water gecko Pokemon Gekwa might be the partner for you. So I think these are pretty good overall looking starters. I don't think I'll give them an A, but I'll maybe give them like a B- in how cool I think they are. And they have some potential to develop into a cool Pokemon, but I don't immediately know which one I would switch. I maybe would have to lean towards Pom Bomb just because I love some dogs, and I think that one looks pretty cute and like it has the potential to look kind of cool even. I normally, in recent time, I've been kind of more of a water type Pokemon, and I guess in the past a little bit too, so that would probably be my normal inclination. And then I think the Chick looks cool, the Bean Chick Pokemon, but I don't know. It'll be kind of a split decision here for me and who I'm going to pick in Pokemon Wins and Waves. But this game is looking for a global simultaneous release for Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves in 2027. So I was a little bit expecting this to come this year, but that was a little bit foolish by me. Pokemon just released a Legend Z through A last year, so I guess they would want to let that breathe for a little bit. Would make some sense there. So I guess more time the better. And maybe that's the time frame. Maybe it's like 2023 to 2027 is going to be 4 years. And I could be wrong. I should have looked up when Scarlet and Violet came out, but there is a longer time frame there, is for sure. So Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves have been announced officially in the Pokemon Presents that took place last week. So another good announcement from that show was the Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is coming to Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. So this is on the GameCube side of Nintendo Classics subscription service. And the cool thing about this is a complete copy of this game on price charting is $225, so very expensive, like a lot of GameCube games are. The initial release of this was 2005. It is the successor to Pokemon Coliseum, and the main objective in this game, I believe, is fighting and capturing Shadow Pokemon. So this is not something I've played, but I would be interested to play a bit of it on Nintendo Switch Online for sure. All right, there's a couple more announcements from the Pokemon Presents. Pokemon Champions finally gets a release window. It's coming to Switch 2 in April of 2026. Get ready to experience everything you love about Pokemon battles and all in one place in Pokemon Champions. This new battle-focused game will feature familiar mechanics such as Pokemon types, abilities, and moves, creating an environment conducive to rich and varied strategies for new and experienced trainers alike. So I was actually at the a video game store earlier, and the person who works there was talking about being excited for this game. And I think this one, I really do think this is going to be a cool thing because this is going to make the actual battling of Pokemon, available to a wider majority of people than I guess just like the trading card game or maybe some older games in the past. I think this one's really going to try to take over as the main game that people play to want to battle Pokemon. And I think Pokemon has the capability, the ability, and all of the above to be able to knock this out and to actually do that. And this one might actually be something I want to try. I've been into the Pokemon kind of mainline games. I've never really been into like serious battling or anything. And I've gotten into the cards a little bit here, but not into like playing the card game. So this could be an entry point for a lot of people, and Nintendo would certainly, and Game Freak would certainly love that to happen. So Pokemon Champions is coming to Switch 2 in April 2026. So only a month away on that one. All right, Pokemon Pokopia was also shown off some more in the Pokemon Presents. This one is releasing even sooner than Pokemon Champions. This one is on March 5th, 2026 for Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be $69.99 US. Play as Ditto and build a new life with Pokemon from the ground up. With help from your Pokemon friends, rebuild a desolate world into a charming utopia one step at a time. I think this game as well has a ton of potential. I guess that's not really a hard prediction to make with Pokemon nowadays, but I am somebody who loves Animal Crossing. I've always been a little bit of a fan of Pokemon, but even becoming more of a fan of it recently, this seems like this could be a mixture of two things I'm really, really into, and a little bit more on my radar than I think it would initially be. I'm still playing Animal Crossing, so I don't know how much time I would have to be able to play another life sim style of game, but maybe it could get me to switch over, but I've been having a whole lot of fun playing Animal Crossings. But Pokemon Pokopia is going to release on March 5th, 2026, so just a reminder on that. All right, there was definitely some more announcements in the Pokemon Presents. I think they teased some more announcements for the trading card game app or whatever, where you can open digital packs, which I've been into that recently too. And I think they're talking about adding a new set into that or something. And then there was also, I don't know if there was any talk about the 30th anniversary for actual Pokemon cards. The most recent set is Ascended Heroes. I don't know. I don't know what the full release calendar is for the rest of the year, but I think everyone's anticipating a big 30th anniversary, something related to the card. So that'll be exciting to see. I think they teased a little bit of that in here, but nothing firm in the Pokemon Presents. So all the main things from the Pokemon Presents that I wanted to tell you about were Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Champions, and Pokemon Pokopia. All right, so that was all the Pokemon news I have for you this week. Let's see what other video game news I want to tell you about. There was a Nintendo Treehouse Live that took place last week. I did not end up watching this, but it was around an hour. It was around 80 minutes in length, and it took place on February 24th. It was featuring hands-on gameplay of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, plus Nintendo Switch 2 edition, plus Meetup. All right, this one, another game in contention for longest Nintendo Switch 2 game, but this was featuring hands-on gameplay of, this is all one game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Switch 2 edition, plus Meetup in Bellabel Park. They also showed off some Pokemon Pokopia in this Treehouse Live as well. I think I'm a big fan of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I thought that was a really great game. I could see myself playing some more of that in the future. I would definitely like some Switch 2 enhancements. I don't think it's necessary, but after reading about this a little bit more, I think the Bellabel Park portion is a little bit more focused on multiplayer, so I don't think that's going to be anything I'm interested in. And this version of the game is going to release on Switch 2 on March 26th. I don't see a price yet showing for the full game, but the upgrade pack is $19.99 US, so very expensive. You know, if it was, a lot of these have been doing $4.99 for the upgrade path, and for something that I don't even think I'm really interested in, Bellabel Park, an area newly discovered within the Flower Kingdom with your friends and play various multiplayer attractions, and definitely $19.99 US is not going to get me there for wanting to try it, but I could see myself playing some more of Super Mario Bros. Wonder base game in the future because it's a really fun game. And I kind of only ran through it once when it was originally released, which was in 2023. So if you want to see some more gameplay from that, if you've never seen it, go check that out. The Treehouse Live took place last week. All right, a couple more games to talk about here to round out this midsection of video game news. Ball Pit, a great video game from last year, which is a brick-breaking, ball-fusing, base-building survival roguelite, where you batter hordes of enemies with ricocheting balls and gather the riches of the pit to expand your homestead and generate resources and recruit unique heroes, is going to mobile. So another really great trend. I guess we've seen games like Stardew Valley, we've seen Vampire Survivors, we've seen Balatro, a lot of great indie games eventually getting ported to mobile. And, you know, I'm not a mobile gamer, but I have a lot of friends that are, and know a lot of people in the world are. I think that's, you know, the way things are trending, where you can kind of play things on anything, on any screen. And I think Ball Pit's been a resounding success, and I think it's a really cool and a great candidate for mobile. And I wanted to make sure you're aware of that. So I don't know if there's a release date. It might be a release date in March. I'm just really not sure at this point. I don't remember, but I don't have one written down. But Ball Pit is coming to mobile is the news there. All right, Mr. Jeff Keighley, the Game Awards guru or creator of the Game Awards at the end of the year, also does Summer Games Fest, and Keighley announced the dates for that. So it's going to be Friday, June 5th or June 8th, over the weekend of the friend of the show and friend of real life, Pab, his great birthday weekend. So maybe we'll get maybe Pab will get a great announcement in there, something he's interested in, since that's his birthday and he's a new Switch 2 owner as well. And Friday will be the 2-hour showcase of new game announcements that will be taking place on June 5th. So that's one of the most fun shows to watch during the year for sure, besides some of like the like Nintendo specific or Sony ones that I'm really into. But I do enjoy the Summer Games Fest. It's pretty much like the new E3, and you always get some good video game announcements, and that's something I love to see and something I love to talk about. So Summer Game Fest is taking place between June 5th and June 8th. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about in the midsection this week is Fields of Mistria, which is a video game developed and published by NPC Studio, where you start your new life, build the farm of your dreams as you discover a world brimming with possibilities. Magic, romance, and adventure all await you in this nostalgic farming life sim RPG. So this game released last year. I believe it's in early access. I believe it comes out of early access after this update. I believe this is the final major update before 1.0. They definitely have a roadmap on their website and on the Steam page and everything. And I mean, maybe we'll possibly see this get ported to Switch in the future. I don't believe it already is, but I think this game has been successful. I think they've been adding great content to it. And this is one that's been on my radar because of the great Sarapod Zorsky, who is the social media and marketing manager on this video game. So please go support Sarah Pods with whatever she is doing. She's on MinMax. She's on the Pew Pew Bang podcast. And she is the social media and marketing manager for Fields of Mistria. So I always like to shout her out because I enjoy her content on the internet very much. All right. So that's everything I got for you for the midsection this week. So we talked about a lot of things. We talked about Resident Evil Requiem, available now. We talked about Marvel's Wolverine, September 15th. Can't believe it. The Marvel MaXimmum collection. We talked about the Pokemon Presents, including things like Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Champions, Pokemon Pokopia. We talked about the Nintendo Treehouse Live, which included Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, plus Meetup in Bellabel Park, and Pokemon Pokopia. We talked about Ball Pit, the Summer Game Fest, and Fields of Mistria. So that is all the video game news I wanted to bring to you this week, everything I had to tell you about. And that's going to end all the video game thoughts this week. But there's still one final section of the podcast to go. It's usually pretty short and sweet, and I think that'll be the case today. It is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. And, just come back and join me after this music for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 169. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 169. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports, as I always like to do, and just give you an update with what's going on with all my favorite teams across the universe. My favorite NFL team, the Carolina Panthers, nothing going on with them. The NFL Combine has been going on this weekend. I haven't really seen any highlights from that, but I don't think I've checked. But the NFL Combine was taking place in Indianapolis this past weekend, and the NFL Draft is taking place on April 23rd through the 25th. So I think that's the next big highlight for the NFL season or off-season rotation that would be giving us some good Carolina Panthers news, unless a trade goes down before the trade deadline or before the draft. So I guess it's about almost 2 months before the draft. So that's probably the next thing we'll be keeping track of for a little while. But go Panthers. As far as the NBA, I'm a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets because I'm a North Carolina resident, and that's been the case for the last couple of years now. And since I talked to you last Sunday, they played the Wizards, and the Hornets won 129-112. Tuesday at Chicago, the Hornets won 131-99. Thursday at Indiana, the Hornets won 133-109. Saturday versus Portland, the Hornets won 109-93. So Hornets have been doing some really good things. I think they're getting more national recognition. They have a really great young core of players and have been drafting really well. And people have been putting a little more respect on LaMelo's name, and I've been happy to see that. And I think some of the LaMelo critiques are definitely what's the word, like correct or fine, or I can't think of the word. I think they're valid, but I think he's been hushing a lot of those criticisms lately, especially with being healthy. He's been he's an incredible asset to that team and a great player. And when they have a great mix of guys around, it's a really cool thing to see. And I think their coach has been doing a great job, and it's been fun to watch the Hornets this year. And it definitely hasn't been. It's been the most fun to watch the Hornets since I've lived here, and that's just been really, really fun and really cool. So the Hornets, after that game last night, are 30-31, so they're almost at 500, and pretty great after. I guess they had a pretty terrible start to the season. They had one really good streak in there, but I mean, them getting to almost 500 is impressive for the Hornets, and hopefully they can continue. And I really don't see how they don't keep continuing, unless there's some really terrible injuries. But they have such a good core of, LaMelo, Khan, and Brandon Miller, and some of the other guys. Bridges in there too. Diabate is really, really strong. I really like watching him play. I saw a guy in a Diabate jersey today and told him his jersey was cool, and that was fun to see. And next week the Hornets are playing Dallas, Boston, Miami, and Phoenix. And then my favorite NBA team, who I'm a little bit on they're a little bit on my naughty list or on the ban list for me right now. I'm still kind of mad at them for trading Trae Young away before the deadline. But the Hawks, since last Sunday, they played Brooklyn. They played on Sunday as well, and the Hawks won 115-104. Tuesday versus the Wizards, the Hawks won 119-98. Thursday versus the Wizards, which they played again, Hawks won 126-96. Sunday, the Hawks actually played Portland today, so I'll have to tell you, I didn't write down what time that game's taking place, so it could actually be going on right now, but I'll have to tell you the result of that one next week. But the Hawks have a short week next week. It's only the Bucks and Philly, and I did see Kuminga had a really great game with the Hawks last week, and that was nice to see. The future of Jalen Johnson, and having Kuminga in there, he's a giant wing. He's a young player, and I do like that. They have Risa Shea, So they have no shortage of giant wings, and if they can put it together somehow, I think they could make some noise. But it's really been, I've been in a not like a heartbreak period, but it's been hard to watch or want to keep up with the Hawks after they traded Trae Young, and they haven't really been playing so well to make it enticing to watch them. So I don't know if that makes me a bad fan, but it definitely makes me a sad fan over here for the Hawks. But those are my basketball updates for this week. As far as baseball goes, baseball is just right around the corner. My favorite team in the universe, the Atlanta Braves, will be playing their first regular season game on March 27, 2026. So, it's the month of baseball really being here. Spring training's going on. Spring training's going on, and some Braves news for this week. Some really great news. Chris Sale, the 37-year-old wonderful, amazing pitcher that the Braves have signed in the last couple of years. They've agreed to a 1-year, $27 million contract extension that includes a club option. So this keeps him from reaching free agency next winter. He turns 37 in March this year, so happy early birthday to Chris Sale. And this deal tacks on a year to his current contract and has a $30 million option with no buyout for the 2028 season. This represents the largest single season salary the Braves have guaranteed a player. But for some of their injuries and question marks going into the starting rotation with like Schwellenbach and Waldrop, I think it's really, really important and exciting that they can lock up Chris Sale. I think the veteran presence is something that's, invaluable. So that's something, you can pay big money for. They were doing some of this with Charlie Morton, and I was a huge fan of that. And I think they need to, maybe just kind of keep some people around or pay them some money, possibly Max Fried, another one that's, still a thorn in my side of them letting him go. But I'm excited the Braves spent some money because Chris Sale could definitely be commanding some money, especially for a team that's contending, which you think the Braves would be contending, but they were nowhere close to it last year. But you could see some other team trying to come in there and sweep up Chris Sale if we didn't have him under or had the option under there. So I think a really strong move by the Braves, and I think the reason Chris Sale wanted to do that because the number was so good. So congrats to Chris Sale, and congrats to Braves fans, including myself. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about is the Braves have announced how you're going to be able to watch them this season, and I think it's a good thing. So the Braves are launching Braves Vision. It's an exclusive Braves television network, which I think is kind of the dream. It's coming this March. It will produce more than 140 games as well as extensive pregame and postgame programming. So throughout the 2026 regular season, it gives fans across the organization's 6-state territory multiple options to watch the Braves games without blackouts. So to me, it sounds like there's going to be, a strictly a la carte way you can watch this. You can pay for Braves Vision outright and just be able to watch 140 games. And then I also think it's possible this channel is going to be included in some other packages, like if you subscribe to YouTube TV. Don't quote me on that because YouTube TV did take away the Braves local network at some point, but like Fubo TV, DirecTV, I think it's possible that Braves Vision could be in some of these packages in the future. I don't think that's been announced, but I think all signs are pointing to sort of good things for being able to watch the Braves and not have to, shell out all our hard-earned money to be able to do so. So that makes me very happy. And I've been paying for FanDuel Sports Network to watch the Hornets, and I may continue to do so, but I really do not like paying for streaming services as much as I have to, but I do like being able to pay for one team. I've been able to pay for the Braves and the Hornets in one package, which has been nice, but that's, of course, been split up so they can try to get 2 payments out of me from all these companies. They all want to take all our money, and they're doing a crazy job of it these days with the streaming networks, with being able to watch your favorite teams. But I think this is a good solution, so I really have no reason to be complaining because this is what I would hope for. So Braves Vision, more details coming on that soon. Just some general MLB news. The World Baseball Classic starts in the upcoming week, which is very exciting, March 5th through the 17th. I think this has really been gaining some momentum the last couple of years for me, at least, of being exciting and fun to watch. So I think I haven't really been tuning into too much spring training yet because spring training is a little bit just more worrisome for me watching because you can just kind of be risking injuries out there. None of it matters. You're kind of just hoping the players, I don't think you can learn too much from spring training from the players' performance. I think you just want to hope the guys get healthy, they start getting some reps, start getting into shape, and that would kind of be my thoughts on spring training in general. So it's more of like a look away and hope nothing happens for me. But the World Baseball Classic is, I guess it's kind of like I don't know if the official kickoff of the baseball season, but watching it feels meaningful. It's fun to watch. It's exciting, and it's a great lead into the Major League season. And we do get the Braves start on the 27th, but we do get some type of early game that's like overseas, I believe, like maybe a week before that. So I definitely probably should add that to the list of when the first official game of the MLB season starts, because that might be important. I'm trying to get a fantasy baseball league started, and I need to message the great friends of the show, Pab and Sanfi, about that, because we need to try to figure out a time to do our draft. So that's some general MLB news, and I think that's all the sports news and thoughts I have for you this week. So I talked about all my favorite teams: the Panthers, the Hornets, the Hawks, the Braves. And we talked about some MLB news in general. So that's going to wrap up the final section of the show, and that's going to wrap up the entire show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. I really appreciate you listening. It's incredible to me that anyone is listening to me. I've been having I think February was a pretty good month of downloads. I've had some pretty good downloads in the last week. It's crazy to me to see. I have a lot of people in Singapore and Brazil listening to me. So just thank you to you. And thank you to anyone out there in the world listening to me. It's like I said, it's really unbelievable, and I appreciate it. I hope you get some good information. I hope this is entertaining to you, and I hope you have as much fun listening as I do recording this, because this is one of my favorite things to do, and I just really, really appreciate you. So that's everything I got for you this week. I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. If things are going good for you, I hope that continues. If things are going poorly, I hope that changes for you, and just thank you so much. Have some fun playing those video games out there. I think, the 2026 is here. The games are rolling in. We got stuff to play. We have contenders for Game of the Year. We got more to come. We got cool announcements going on, and I'm excited about it. So I will talk to you next week, and thank you for listening to another episode of Dep Lewis Show. Goodbye.